if you need any tips or trips. Hey everyone, my name is Bridget. Welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about what I feed my parrot. Some of you may or may not know that we adopted a parrot in April of 2018. I'll have that video in the cards if you want to see. And if you did see that video or you happen to follow us on social media, you will know how she is behavioral wise and why she's not out here with me. I would love to have her out here with me while I'm talking about what I feed her, but that's just not the case for us. Now, if you are part of the parrot keeping world or you're interested in the parrot keeping world, one of the most important things when it comes to keeping parrots is the diet. I can admit that I haven't been as interested in the bird world as I am now, and in the past I had no idea exactly how important the diet is and how it plays a really pivotal role in their lifestyle and how they live and their lifespan. But now that I've looked more into it and I've done all of my research, I now know the importance of a parrot diet and how to properly provide that for them. So I thought that I would share that with you guys if you need any tips or tricks with your bird as well. So to start off with, there are many different ways that you can feed a bird, and many people have different opinions on what they should or should not eat. You'll see a lot of people talk about an all seed diet or an all pellet diet or only fresh fruits and vegetables to give all of their vitamins and minerals. It just goes different ways, and you can do it in different ways, but I do believe that variety is key, and so I'm going to talk about what I do for her and how I provide her with the most varied diet that I possibly could. When I first adopted Sydney, she was on an all seed diet. She did get fresh fruit and vegetables every now and then, and she was given a lot of treats and things, but they were mostly like peanuts, dehydrated fruit, which I've learned that she doesn't like. So I'm pretty sure she didn't eat it with the previous family either. But long story short, she just didn't have the best diet. Now she gets tons of things, and she has her favorites and her dislikes, of course. Now, one of the biggest parts when it comes to a parrot's food, and whether you do seeds, pellets, fresh food, things like that, it depends highly on your time and your money. Without saying that I think that this is right, I think that you should strive to do the absolute best for your animal regardless of your time and money and everything else. I don't believe that you should have the animal if you don't have the time or the money or the means to do the correct things for them. But I do know that for a lot of people, it's easier to put something in their cage and be able to leave. You know, especially people who work all day long, it's difficult to give them fresh foods throughout the day when you're not there. For a lot of people, especially in the past, before it became really well known that parrots need a varied diet, it was easy to just fill a bowl with seeds and let it be that, or fill a bowl with pellets and let it be that. But as I've said before, it's way better for them and healthier for them to mix it up every now and then and do things different and make sure that they do have fresh ingredients. Now, pellets these days are formulated to have everything that your bird needs in them, and it's wonderful if your parrot is going to eat every single one of those pellets. You don't have to worry about providing them with anything else. You truly don't. I think that's great. However, I think the majority of parrots in the world don't really love pellets that much, and they don't only eat the pellets. My bird in particular definitely doesn't only eat the pellets, so I figured out a way to get her to eat all of her food to still have all of her vitamins and minerals without just leaving the pellets in the bowl and expecting her to eat them, because she just won't. So I am going to talk about her pellets in this video. She does have 24/7 access to pellets, but they're not her favorite. She doesn't eat them very much, and so you'll see in this video that I give her a lot of bird bread. And the reason that I do this is because the bird bread that I give to her has the exact same ingredients within it that are in her pellets, because they're the same company. So I figured if she's not gonna eat the actual pellets, I needed to find a separate way to make sure that she eats them. She loves her bird bread, And so she eats the bird bread, which is equivalent to her pellets. So I don't really fight with that. I let her eat the bird bread and she can snack on pellets should she wish. Another thing that I do for my bird and that a lot of people choose to do, it's similar to the circus diet. If you don't know what the circus diet is, I'm not gonna go into full detail here, but I will leave a link in the description for you to read about it. It's basically where every single piece of the food is about the same size in little bite-sized pieces, and it's the same food every single day. Now you can switch it up with the different veggies and fruits that you use, but they get the same food every day so that there's no picking and choosing. They just get their daily diet and they eat it that way. And that's kind of what I do here. I don't do it to a T how the circus diet does it because I don't really agree with certain parts of it, but I do make sure that she gets the same food every day. It will have different ingredients depending on the week and the chop that I make and the sprouts that I make, but for the most part, it will look the same, it will feel the same, and she doesn't have the option to go in and pick and choose what she wants out of the food. I mean, she can obviously, but it's not where I've got big pieces of this, small pieces of that. It's all mixed together to have the same flavor profile and all in the same size pieces. So what I'm gonna show you in this video is how I prepare her chop that I do every single week and her bird bread, and also putting these foods in little deli cups. That is how I feed her every single day. Now the majority of her diet is kept in these little deli cups, but I do explain to you other things that I do for her in her diet and little additives towards the end of the video. Different treats that I give her, her pellets, everything else. So the main focus of this video is her daily food cups that I make for her. But if you're interested in other things that I feed her, things that you might want to feed your bird, definitely go to the end of the video and make sure that you see those other tips as well. But I will also leave links in the description for all the safe foods that I can find on Parrots. Now I personally am very fortunate to have the privilege of staying home. I do not have a job that I go to every day, so I am here with my bird every single day, all day long, unless I have errands or something else that I'm doing. So I am able to make her fresh food every single day if I wanted to cook everything or however else and make it absolutely fresh every day. But I also have a lot more animals that I take care of and a lot of other things that I do around my home. So even though I have the ability to do those things, I still choose not to. I still choose to make it easy on myself and have things pre-prepared. I know that not everyone has the opportunity to be home the way that I am. So this system that I do definitely makes it easy and still provides a full, fresh, varied diet without taking up too much time and too much effort. So your bird is still getting those fresh foods, but you're not having to put in so much work. So as I said, one of the biggest components of her diet is her bird bread, but also one of the biggest components of her diet is her chop, and I give her chop every single day of her life. I do change it up depending on what ingredients that I put in there, and I also go with the seasons and what's, you know, available in the grocery store and things like that. Make it easy on yourself. And it can be kind of overwhelming when trying to choose what you're going to put in your chop. So I have a little system that I do, and I think that it could definitely help you guys. So when choosing your chop ingredients, you want to have greens, vegetables, fruit, and some type of grain. For the first component being greens, you want to choose 1 or 2 types of greens. It's perfectly okay to only choose 1 type of green. It's obviously better to add 2 greens, but it's really not that big of a deal. As long as you choose a green that is safe for them, which I will have linked down below, and you switch it up every time that you make chop. For your second component, which is vegetables, you want to choose 3 or 4 different types of vegetables. You want one of those vegetables to be a green vegetable, and you want one of those vegetables to be an orange vegetable. Green vegetables provide their specific vitamins and minerals, and orange vegetables provide their specific vitamins and minerals. So you want to make sure that you have both types in your veggie mix. And then I always like to add in just 1 or 2 other vegetables to go in there. For the third component, which is fruit, you want to have 1 or 2 types of fruit. I don't put as much fruit because of the sugar content, so I definitely recommend if you're doing 1 type of fruit, it can be any type of fruit, But if you're choosing to add 2 different types of fruit, make sure they're the lower sugar content, like berries. And then for the 4th component, which is a grain, you just need 1 to 2 types of grain. I typically only add 1 just because I don't want to overdo it. And I add dry grains to her pellet bowl. And you can also add beans, which are actually very healthy for birds, but my bird Sydney does not love beans, so I typically don't give them to her very often, but she still gets everything she needs with everything else. So now that this intro has been forever long, I'm gonna go ahead and get into how I prepare my bird's food every day, and I hope that this helps you with your bird. All right, so to start out with, I have everything laid out that I'm gonna use in this chop today. I have my 2 green choices, kale and spring mix. I have this little plate over here that has carrot, sugar snap peas, baby corn, and apple. I have my grain, which is vegetable pasta, and I have my bird bread. This bird bread that I'm going to be using is by Harrison's, and all I do is follow the directions on the back of the bag. I will put a photo on the screen that shows the directions and the ingredients and everything. I just follow it to a T, and then I use little silicone cupcake molds to actually make the little muffins, and I only fill it up about halfway, and I use 12 of them, so I end up with 12 of these little muffins. I use 2 every single week, so when I use 12 of them, I get exactly 6 weeks of bird bread to use that I store in my freezer until I'm ready to use them. So I've got these 2 out, ready to go. They're nice and thawed out, and they actually go in last, so we'll do that in just a moment. And then to chop everything up, I use this little mini food processor. I'll try to find it online so that I can link it down below. This is honestly one of the best purchases I've ever made. I could not live without this thing. I started making chop by hand, which took forever. Then I went to using a blender, and that just made everything kind of mushy, and so this makes everything the perfect size, little bite-sized pieces. I love it so much. So then with everything here, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so for my greens, I typically don't have an exact measurement that I use for them. I just kind of stuff them in this little cup here up to the max line, and that gives me enough greens, so that's all I'm going to do. So I'm just gonna take a bunch of kale here and just kind of stuff it in this little food processor. And then I'm just gonna blend it up. And then as you can see, I've got perfect little sized pieces of this kale that I'm gonna drop in the bowl. Next up, I'm going to start with my vegetables over there. I'm going to chop up a little bit of carrot because I'm definitely not going to use that entire stick. So I'm just going to get about maybe half of the stick going. So that's gonna be everything in this food processor here, but then I am going to add my little pasta. I have it here in this little cup. This is already pre-made, pre-cooked, and also pre-cut. I try to make these grains in bulk as well, so I usually keep the vegetable pasta, quinoa, and brown rice in my freezer. You can see that I made this on November 11th. It is still perfectly fine. This has been sitting out a little bit to defrost, and now I'm just gonna toss it in the bowl. So then this is basically what I have. If you'll notice, I don't exactly measure anything, so I don't know exactly how much of everything is in this mixture. I just kind of eyeball it, and then I get about this amount every time, and this will last me 3 weeks. All right, so here's the situation I have in terms of storage. So as you can see in these little deli cups here, they are marked Monday through Sunday, and these are what I do for every single week. Every single Sunday, I come in my kitchen and I prepare the following week's food. Now I don't keep all 7 days in the refrigerator because I don't want anything to spoil, but I do keep Monday through Thursday in the refrigerator, and I store Friday through Sunday in my freezer, And on Thursday evening, I will take out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to put in my fridge so that everything is defrosted by the time I need to use it. That way I'm going through everything every single day and she's getting the same food, but nothing is spoiled. Everything stays fresh. I will first fill up these cups here for the following week. And then I have this little baby food storage container that holds 10 days, and I will use extra deli cups to fill up to make another 14 days. So I just need 4 of those. I don't know why I got so many out, but I'm just gonna need 4 of them so that I have 3 weeks worth of my chop. By the way, I do rewash these and reuse them. I'm not wasteful and throw them away every single week. These I've used, I think, 3 times already since the last batch. I mean, I do have to get rid of them after a certain amount of time because they will just get nasty and be bad. But for the most part, I just use them as many times as I possibly can so that I'm not wasteful. So then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take about a spoonful like so, which I think is about a tablespoon, and I'm gonna put this in the bottom of each cup. So then next I'm gonna take my little baby food container here and I'm gonna fill them all up the same way. It's gonna be about halfway. All right, and then you can see here, I have this little thing filled up. And what's good is that I can store this in the freezer and it's so easy because when I'm ready to get something out, I literally just push this little bit on the bottom and push it up and it comes out as this little frozen block of veggies. It's so convenient. Again, one of the best purchases I've ever made. So I'll just take my little lid here and I will close it. And then I'm gonna take 4 of these little cups here that I have extra and fill them up with the rest of this mixture. And as you can see, I've used basically every single bit of it in all of this mixture. I don't know how it happens. I just get lucky. I don't measure anything, but every single time I get about 3 weeks worth of chop. Next up, I need to work with my bird bread. Every single day of the week, she gets 1/4 of one of these loaves. So I don't use exactly 2 of these every single week. There's a little bit of a corner left over. I have to cut it up, break it up into pieces, and then put it on top of the chop in every single cup. I'm definitely gonna try and be in frame as best as I can. So this is about how much she gets every single day. Again, with this, I would say that it's about a tablespoon. And then once I have it cut up and it looks about like that, I'm just gonna scrape it into one of the cups. So then here's one of her cups finished. You can see it's got half chop on the bottom, half bird bread on the top. So now I'm just gonna continue along with the rest of the loaves, filling up these cups, and I'll continue to explain what else I do after that. All right, so there are all 7 cups filled with the chop and the bird bread. I usually have this little section left over. I'm just gonna toss this. So then what I do next is I'm just gonna close them all up and put Monday through Thursday in the refrigerator and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in my freezer. So on Monday morning, I would go to my fridge and I would get out this cup here, heat this in the microwave for 8 seconds, pour it in her bowl, top it with half a tablespoon to a tablespoon of these sprouts, mix it all together, and stick it in her cage for her. And that's basically my chop mixture with my bird bread in a nutshell, how I prepare my birds' food every day. So now we're just gonna put these up in their storage places. All right, so this is my little mini fridge in my animal room. It is very, very empty, as you can see. But basically, I'm gonna take my cups here and I store them on this little shelf Wednesday and Thursday, Monday and Tuesday, so they are ready for me right there. So then here is my mini fridge's freezer section. I emptied out all of my frozen rodents for my snakes. That way you guys didn't have to see it if that made you uncomfortable. But I basically have my fish food, which is in that white container for my betta fish, and then on top of it is where I keep my extra grains. Like I said, I keep extra brown rice and quinoa, and pasta and such back there. So then what I usually store in here first is I put my little container of extra chop here in this back section on the bottom so that it sits easily there. And then in the front of this box, I will put the extra chop that I made. That's where those guys are gonna go. Then my Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this coming week is also gonna go, oh my gosh, okay. And then next Sunday, I'll come in here, I'll take everything back out, I'll get my little chop container so that I can make my next week's food. So in addition to the food that she gets every single day, which is what I just made, she has 24/7 access to her pellets and her grain mix. For her pellets, I use the Harrison's High Potency Fine. She's been on this for about 8 months, and so I'm going to go ahead and transition her to the Adult Lifetime Maintenance version. Here is what it looks like for anyone interested. It's just these perfect little bite-sized pieces. I make sure she has 2 tablespoons of this and 1 tablespoon of this mixture that I make here. This mixture here, which I'm running low up as you can see, is just a mixture of steel-cut oatmeal, organic coconut flakes, lentils, split peas, chia seeds, flaxseed, quinoa, barley, and buckwheat. I put all of this stuff together in here and shake it all around, and then I just add about a tablespoon. I don't refresh this food every single day because I personally don't find it necessary, but I do refresh this about every 2 to 3 days. Here are some of Sydney's very favorite treats that I feed her on a regular basis. You've got your traditional Nutriberries here. I think every parrot owner has these in their collection and feeds them to their birds. Right now she's got this El Paso kind, which has little bell peppers in there. This is not her favorite. She likes the original best, but this is what I have right now. I also give her these little baked munchies. You can't really see them right now, but they're these little cookie things with tropical fruit. She really loves these. I, of course, love to give her walnuts. Walnuts are so healthy for parrots. She gets a piece every single day, but sometimes I give her more than one. This little bag here, these are Prissy Puffs from Texas Natural Freeze-Dried Products. I know that a lot of you guys wouldn't have as much access to stuff like this as I do because I do live in Texas, but they do have a website there, as you can see, and you can definitely order anything from them if you want to. These are basically just little cookies of sweet potato, pecans, banana, oats, apple juice, and unsweetened coconut. These are some of her favorite things on earth. As you can see, I'm running dangerously low, so I need to place an order for this really soon. Then in here, I just have a mixture of cashews and pistachios that I just give her randomly throughout the day. In this jar, these are little things that I use for training treats mainly. There's pine nuts, little pieces of chopped pecan, and almond slivers. And then of course, the beloved millet. I don't give her entire millet sprays, but I do break off individual little bite-sized pieces, and I give her like 2 or 3 of these every day. She definitely gets more than this every week, even every day. I do give her fresh things as often as I can. Whenever I'm eating something that's fresh, like a fruit or vegetable or something, I do try and offer her a little bite. But for the most part, she does just get her pellets and her grain mix in one bowl, her chopped bird bread and sprouts in another bowl, and then I do give her treats like this throughout the day sporadically, as well as training treats when we're doing a training session. So the key here is variety. She definitely has a very varied diet, and so if this helped you in any kind of way, I definitely love that. I want to help everyone as best as I can, and so if this gave you some inspiration or some ideas, that makes me happy. I definitely recommend everything that I've shown today, and I hope that all of your birds stay well and healthy for as long as possible. Well, alright guys, that's going to be it for my video today, showing you what I feed my little parrot Sydney. As you can see, there is a lot going on with her diet. She's definitely a very spoiled bird, and that's how it should be. I hope this helped you guys if you already have a parrot or you're thinking of getting a parrot, to make sure that you give them the proper diet to make them the healthiest bird that they could possibly be. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button on your way out. I really appreciate it. Also hit that notification bell so you can know when I upload next, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!